Alright, how's it going? I'm Kevin and this is
Councillor Alan Tobin.
And we're here to talk to you about bus hiring in Ashbourne.
So tomorrow night in Donaghmore Ashbourne GAA Club we're going to be having a meeting, public meeting organised by Sam Elliott, and it's Ratoath and Ashbourne bus users, concerned bus users. It's a group on Facebook that came together over the bus service that was happening in Ashbourne, and as we know, the bus service hasn't always been perfect. So if you want to explain how the page came about.
Alright, well initially we decided we have an awful lot of problems with our bus service locally, so we'd get together. We had a few meetings. We said, why not set up a Facebook page? We had a few people at the meetings, but there's far more people who are affected by it, so what better way to get together than to do it on Facebook? And we're coming up on about 1,000 members now at the moment, and it's been a great place for people to kind of share their concerns, share their experiences, and share their complaints from time to time, and the odd rant there as well.
At the municipal district then we've had a representative from Bus Éireann coming into us every so often, and he explains different things that Bus Éireann do, why they do them, and how, for example, how fares are structured and things like that. So the example of that is that he'll take different areas around the country and he'll say that they're not the same as Ashbourne. Now, one example of that is Selbridge. A brother of mine lives in Selbridge. A ticket to Selbridge is from city centre is a lot cheaper than it is to Ashbourne, yet it's the same distance, and it's kind of the same distance out, and it's a similar kind of a countryside coming out and things like that.
Do you know, John King actually did we did a bit of research when we started off the group, and John found out that approximately speaking a comparable Dublin bus route is 50% cheaper, and a comparable Bus Éireann route is 30% cheaper, so by any measure we're getting gouged in Ashbourne.
Yeah. The Selbridge situation though is that they have huge competition on it, and believe it or not, their competition is two other semi-states. So their competition is Iarnród Éireann and Dublin Bus. They all service Selbridge, so therefore they get cheaper prices. In Ashbourne we don't have that luxury. We had Alamartin a few years back. We all know what happened there. They got wiped out. Suddenly we got a service that was good, and as soon as Alamartin disappeared, the service went back to the way it was. So I think we're coming across something similar now. So this guy comes in every so often, he talks to us. We had concerns about a bus service in Kentstown. Now the good thing about the new service routes that's coming in is that you will have a Kentstown route. Before they weren't serviced on the buses at all. So according to people in Kentstown, they're very, very happy with what's happening. But the problem that we have is this bus service is starting in Ratoath. It's coming from Ratoath over to Ashbourne. You've got a population in Ashbourne of 12,000 plus, between 12 and 15, and you've got a population in Ratoath of 9,500 to 10,000. So those buses, I reckon, are going to come over and they're going to be full.
Well, I think part of the problem as well isn't necessarily that we're changing bus routes, it's more that we're changing them and we're not talking to the people who use them, because it makes most sense to go talk to the users and say, what do you guys want, what would make your life easier? And we're not doing that. It's very much being done centrally and we've very little say in it. Yeah. And the changes they propose will have a big impact on some people who use the bus currently, and it'll make life a lot harder for them.
Yeah, so there's a lot of young people in particular using the likes of the bus service to go to Belvedere School. I know Temple Street Hospital, the Mater, Rotunda, places like that where people would get the bus and go and visit. They're now being seriously inconvenienced because of that. The other thing is they're moving the terminus from Beresford Place down to Townsend Street, saying that it's a safer option. I've yet to believe that. But the other thing as well is that they're going to, they basically railroaded this on people. The 109 got changed a while back, and they took customer feedback where you got on the bus and you actually had pages that you filled out and you could send in your feedback. This hasn't happened in this case. It is a reaction to competition. The competition is Ashbourne Connect. And Ashbourne Connect, without much advertising or anything at all, has done very, very well in this town, provides an excellent service. I think any of the people who use it will tell you that.
Well, full disclosure, I use Ashbourne Connect to get into work in the mornings and I have no complaints. They're spot on time, they're cheaper, the drivers are amazing. And
one thing about them is the bus that is supposed to arrive arrives. And this is a major problem that we have with Ashbourne. You have, I had people contact me 2 weeks ago, the 11 o'clock bus at night. Guy works 2 to 10 shift inside in Dublin. He wants to get home at 11 o'clock at night. And he's in Beresford Place, as I said before. Beresford Place isn't the type of place that you like hanging around at that time of night. 11 o'clock bus comes up on the display. 11 o'clock bus supposedly arrives, but it didn't arrive.
That's a phantom bus, you get that a lot. To be fair to Ashbourne Connect, they have a different system. They've got all the buses tagged with a GPS, so if you go on the website page you get to see exactly where they are and where the stops are. Anyway, we're not here to advertise Ashbourne Connect. we are here to talk about the bus Éireann route changes.
Yeah.
Now, you tried to get a meeting with them through the County Council.
Okay, so they came into us about 2 weeks ago at our MD meeting, and they talked to us about various different things that were going to happen on the route. It was the first time we'd been told about it, and they said that this was going to happen in mid-March. So initially, as I said, my fear was that they would come over from buses coming from Ratoath to Ashbourne would be full and people wouldn't be able to get a bus. So they said, well, you're okay, we're increasing the frequency, they're going to be every 20 minutes. But that's not good enough for people who, you know, have to be in work on time. And I think it's a, you know, it's supposed to be public transport, it's supposed to be reliable. And if you want to get people away from using their cars and to use public transport to free up the roads and whatever else, it needs to be reliable, and it's not happening. So we requested an emergency meeting, if you like, with this guy. He answered us. He said he was going to meet us on last Monday, and we were waiting a time for that meeting, and we never got a response from him, and since then we've had no response.
And you took a lot of questions from people as well, because obviously people were quite interested and wanted to get involved and wanted to have their say.
Yeah.
But now we've nobody to meet.
Nothing at all. So my feeling is that this has been specifically timed. There's an election obviously in a week's time. We effectively don't have a government in place. We don't have a minister for transport at the moment. So the National Transport Association and Bus Éireann have effectively, as I said, railroaded this through, and we are going to be stuck with this. And as soon as the new government takes shape and we try to get some representation on it, it'll probably be a month to 6 weeks down the line, and there'll be people seriously inconvenienced at that stage. So there's a public meeting this Monday. We need to have some clear objectives from that, and we need to be able to go to our councillors and say this is what we demand. What I see coming out of it is a clear message from people to say that, you know, I've had dealings with the National Transport Association. Once they've made a decision on a route, you can't just go back on it. Okay, so we're going to be stuck with this for a period of time. Let nobody else say that they're going to be able to turn around and actually undo this very, very quickly. They set out a route. Once that route is set out, you will be penalised if you don't stick to that route. Okay, so as soon as we get a minister for transport in place, we need to be ready. We need to be able to have some sort of a committee or you know, a few people who are willing to get into that minister straight away and have a meeting with him. And in the meantime, we need to get onto Bus Éireann, get that meeting with them, and get onto the NTA and get a meeting with them.
What about normal, you know, people who are using the service every day? Is there anything that they can do? Is there any feedback that they can give?
I'd love to say that we could boycott the service, but I don't think that that's going to be able to happen. You know, it's not possible for a lot of people. The only other way is, I suppose, like what we would ask people to do with any other issues council-wise, is bombard Bus Éireann and the NTA with emails to say that they're not happy with this and explain the reasons why they're not happy with it. Like we've already put some suggestions forward there about our fares and things like that. Bus Éireann could have went to the NTA with this proposal of the route changes, and they could have asked for a fare reduction.
They've never asked for a fare reduction.
They've never asked for a fare reduction. Never ever in the history of them. Yeah, never asked for it. They don't care about the customers, and this bus route here in Ashbourne is a very lucrative route.
We have an active community. We're all here talking about it on a Facebook page, and that might seem like a small thing, but it means we're all interested.
I think there's people that aren't aware of the route that Ashbourne Connect have. Okay, now Bus Éireann have been slightly paranoid about their services, and they've been following his buses around the place, right?
Really?
Quite bizarre. Yeah.
What do you mean by following them around?
I asked this guy that comes up to us, our rep, it's either a black Ford Focus or a black Ford Mondeo that actually follows their bus in the morning times and takes note of exactly how many people. Are you
telling me that Bus Éireann are stalking their private competition?
I am telling you that Bus Éireann are going out, they are counting the figures of the competition to see how many people are getting on those buses, where they're going, where they're getting on, and they are monitoring that bus service. They are also monitoring that bus service to see if it breaks the rules at all, so that they can lodge a complaint into the NTA and get that company fined.
But who are they paying for that? I mean,
the other thing that annoys me about Ashbourne Connect and the unfairness of the route that they have at the moment is 50% of the buses that they run are empty. So every service that they provide going into town is not allowed to bring passengers back out of town, and vice versa in the evenings.
Passengers back.
It's to do with what's called the passenger service obligation. So for every journey that you do, you're subsidising. The money you pay is subsidising less profitable routes. Okay. Now I would take that and I'd say, okay, that's fine. If we had less profitable routes around Ashbourne and places like Stamullen or Bellewstown or Kentstown, which is going to be serviced in this, we're getting bus services.
But they don't.
They're not getting bus services. No.
So why are we paying? We're already paying.
I presume it's for the bus that goes down to Carrigaholt in County Clare once a week from Galway or something like that.
Yeah, but we're in Meaden there in Clare.
It's to do with the passenger service obligation. And that's their line. And that's it. We are subsidising less profitable routes to provide a service in country areas.
Alright, well, what can we do? Because obviously we're mad as hell, we're not going to take it anymore.
We need to come up with a concrete plan of basically trying to get Bus Éireann to talk to us, which they haven't, and we need to get a representative from the NTA to talk to us.
So this is a big issue for me. I should come to the meeting on Monday.
You should come to the meeting on Monday. Once that we have those meetings organised, and once we have a quorum or whatever, we have people who are going to meet these people with us. Okay, we need to see what skills they have and whatever else. See, is there a legal obligation that we might be able to get the decisions overturned or whatever else, that we can then turn around to whoever the new minister will be and see what he can do once he's in office, or she is in office, because the minister is probably the only one who's going to be able to at that stage overturn the decision, and that's what we have to do. Alright,
so we're having a meeting on Monday night, so why would I come to this meeting?
Well, as we know, the whole conversation on this has been on Facebook, and I've got a few emails from people who have been very, very concerned about it. We need to ascertain the level of anger and, you know, how many people actually want this decision overturned, because it has been forced upon us. So I think a good turnout is essential, and that will send a message to Bus Éireann and to the NTA and whoever the new Minister for Transport will be. And, you know, at least we'll be able to get this top of the agenda, because there appears to be a lot of people inconvenienced about this. We've been going on about this service for years and years and years, and it's about time that we get something sorted out.
Okay, so where is it on?
Donaghmore GAA Club, 7 o'clock, Monday 22nd.
Okay, perfect. What sort of people should go?
Public bus users. Even if they're infrequent bus users, it doesn't matter. People who use that bus service, who are going to be affected by the new bus routes. So from now on, it's not going to go our normal route, which is down through Whitworth Road, up Dorset Street and around that area. It's now going to go down through Phibsborough, Church Street, down the Quays and around down to Townsend Street. And when it comes back up, it's going to have a drop off or a collection point at Essex Quay, which is up near the Brazen Head pub. So it's a totally different route within the town centre itself. It is going to inconvenience people who are used to a bus service that we've had for whatever amount of years, do you know what I mean?
Alright, that's fair enough. Well, I guess I'll see you there.
7 o'clock.